All right, it's now time for Trending Now with Olamide Odekunle.
Olamide, good morning.
Good morning, Etoma. Good morning, Ibrahim.
Good morning. How was the weekend?
I'm very well, thank you. It's a good Monday to tell stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have it.
Good Monday to tell stories. So, right on.
I'm going to take it away. I've got some good stories for you guys. Good morning, Nigeria. I like to say that TVC has a finger on the pulse and our eyes constantly on the street. And if it's a trending story, we are definitely going to attempt to dissect it on here. In our first story, a viral video circulating online has raised serious concerns about the conduct of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration Control during its recent enforcement operations. Now, in the footage, a distraught trader from Onitsha Market has accused NAFDAC officials of looting her shop under the guise of a regulatory raid. Take a look at this.
That's my shop. NAFDAC has looted my shop. NAFDAC has looted my shop. NAFDAC has looted my shop. See 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 my shop. My shop, NAFDAC has returned my shop. Oh, this is where I make my money. NAFDAC has returned my shop. Oh my.
Now, in recent times, we've seen that NAFDAC has intensified its crackdown on counterfeit and adulterated medicines, and it shut down several markets and stores across the country. But we have to remember that this isn't just happening in the eastern region. Now, while the agency's efforts have largely been viewed as a necessary move to protect public health and save lives, this latest allegation has sparked debate over the transparency and accountability of these raids. We saw this happen with EFCC. We've seen what happens when Nigerians don't understand what constitutes a raid. And I think for NAFDAC to avoid what happened with EFCC and the danger of raids, they need to let us know what constitutes a raid so that we can stand behind them and the good work that they're doing is not sabotaged from these blurred lines. But let's take a look at social media. Jane says, invest in Nigeria, invest in your country. Just look at what they're doing to people. Prof. Imonoka says, the crackdown threatens the billions made from counterfeit drugs, so they resort to propaganda and claim victimization. The fight against fake drugs is about saving lives, not politics or business interests. NAFDAC must remain steadfast in shutting down illegal markets and prosecuting offenders. I completely agree. But we'll take another story now. The National Youth President of Afenifere, Prince Eniola Ojajuni, has called for urgent action against the rising wave of kidnappings by herdsmen in southwest Nigeria. Now, speaking at a press conference, he recounted his harrowing 12-day captivity, during which his abductors initially demanded 100 million naira, but eventually released him after receiving 17 million. Take a look at what he had to say.
They released the 7 numbers of kidnapper. Remember, I said a woman called Garuba Dungo. Garuba Dungo is from Kogi. He speaks Hausa very well. And they were telling Garuba men, the 10 of them, now of them dressed in military
camouflage uniform.
If I was trying to look at their name tag, but their badge was covered. Their badge was covered, and they covered their eyes. The Fulani herdsmen are experienced. They have AK-47. It was God that saved me.
He also revealed that kidnappers have established multiple camps across the region and that they're using advanced technology to track victims and evade security forces. And now, according to his findings, there are 27 camps in Ondo State, 16 camps in Ekiti, 7 in Osun, and 5 kidnapper camps in Ogun State. He warned the government that abductors are planning to intensify their operations in Ondo and Lagos State. I believe that every kidnappee is a very important and reliable intelligence asset and should be treated as such. We have to get the details from these people. They can really inform us and help the government to prevent such kidnappings in the future. But let's take a look at social media. Success says these people are not doing the work alone. They have backup and also working with intelligent people, people that know about technology. When I passed through that road last year going to Abuja, my heart was up like bing bing till we got to Kogi State. We have citizens living in fear, unfortunately. We'll take one more tweet. Obi says the security forces will still turn a blind eye to them all. I mean, and Ibrahim and Etoma, he actually in the video, we didn't play, we didn't show that, but he alleged that these kidnappers are working closely with military forces. He says they're wearing military uniforms and have military name tags. What do you make of this?
Well, military uniforms, because they are wearing it, doesn't really mean that they are military men that are perpetrating these crimes. Now, what stood out for me is that the guy knows the number of camps they have in what state in the southwest. If that information is out, why are the camps still existing? We have security architecture in the western part of Nigeria, both federal security agencies and Amoteco. If you have done enough investigations to know how many camps we have in what state, what are they still doing there?
Now, so I'll react to your first story of the NAFDAC allegedly looting a shop after they've gone on a raid. But I would want to also agree or believe that that's corruption fighting back, because NAFDAC has been making, a lot of gains when it comes to fighting drug traffickers, drug peddlers, and fake drug, merchants who are trying to kill us in Nigerians, these peaceful us, innocent us in Nigeria. So, but proper investigation should be done as to, was it NAFDAC that did this? I mean, NAFDAC officials that did it. Of course, NAFDAC can't do that. That is not part of their, so was it part of their officials that did this, or was it certain people who are trying to blackmail NAFDAC because they are seriously fighting against counterfeit drugs? Regarding the second story, which is talking about, you already said it all, Etoma, we have the security architecture, having all of these places, dens, covens of the kidnappers. We should do so much to ensure that we bring them to book and destroy their camps.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much for your input, as always. Moving on in our next story, a senior Edo State official, Kelly Okungbowa, popularly known as Ebo Stone, has been caught on video spraying freshly minted Naira notes on two exotic dancers at a private party. Now, he's said to be a close ally of Governor Monday Okpebolo, and he serves as chairman of the Edo State Asset Recovery Committee and the state coordinator of the Public Safety Response Team. We all know that under the CBN Act of 2007, Naira abuse, including spraying and stepping on or mishandling currency, is a criminal offense that is punishable by 6 months in prison and a 50,000 Naira fine, or even both. To see a public official who's been tasked with managing and keeping state assets engaged in such financial misconduct, in my opinion, I feel like the punishment should be harsher for this sort of financial misconduct. But let's take a look at social media. Andy says, this is just 1% of what your senators do off camera. Ooh. And Elon says, in his defense, this is one way to make the money circulate. These women will go ahead and spend to buy hair, pay for nails, do shopping, and money will exchange hands. And like that, the money will go around. It may be unconventional, but this is in the best interest of Edo people. I put it to you that you are unserious. In our next story, Stanley Chidubem Anigbogu from Nigeria has been named the 2025 Commonwealth Young Person of the Year at the Commonwealth Youth Awards in London last week. Now, as the founder and CEO of LightEd, he was recognized for converting waste into solar innovations, and he's been providing energy to over 10,000 refugees in Africa. He says that he was inspired by his childhood struggles with energy poverty, and he launched this initiative during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so far, he's managed to train 6,000 students and recycle 20,000 kilograms of waste. He's from Anambra State, and his work in sustainable energy is clearly making significant impact across Africa. we're seeing a rise in youth-driven solutions in terms of government, in terms of international development. But unfortunately, when youth step in with initiatives like this, it highlights gap in government, in government policies. But let's take a look at social media. I like to end my segments with good news. It's good to see that good things are happening. The Commonwealth tweeted, they said, congratulations to Nigeria's Stanley Chidubem Anigbogu, our 2025 Commonwealth Young Person of the Year. Through Lighted, he's provided clean energy to 10,000 refugees and trained lots of people. Before I hand over to my co-anchors, I want to ask you guys to please chime in on our conversation. Do you have something interesting you'd like to share with us, or do you just want to give a unique opinion? Tag us with the hashtag TrendingNowTVC. I promise that we are listening. In our final story in entertainment news, although I don't know if I'd call this entertainment, but last week we saw that widespread criticism trailed viral videos of the father of Nigerian singer Asake, also known as Ahmed Ololade, and he was pleading for help from his estranged son. However, luckily, in a positive turn of events, a new video has confirmed that Asake has now stepped in to cover his father's medical bills and provide the necessary care. Take a look at this.
But that yanjú gbogbo ẹ̀ kò sí dààmú kò sí dààmú mi àti settle kò sí nǹkan kan mọ́ no more bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ all settle done and deal.
It was great to see that after these allegations against Ashake's father of being an absentee father, it was great to see that the community of Isaleko stepped in all over social media and said, no, he's a pillar of community, he's a wonderful father, and he should be supported by his son. But Ibrahim and Etoma, I want to hone in right now on this Edo State issue. We saw this man engage in serious financial misconduct. Do you think that the consequences for public officials should be stricter than civilians in terms of this sort of gross and lewd display?
Yes, I believe that completely. If you are given a position of responsibility, you are part of the image of the government, you know, and that is a big responsibility. You should lead by example. Yes, people enjoy throwing monies around when they are in one event or the other, but the fact that you are working for the government, you are occupying an office right now, there should be some kind of restraint. That I would not agree with completely. His behavior, I wouldn't agree with that behavior at all. Now, for the Asake story, the people might come and say his father was a very, they can say he's a pillar, a community pillar, but that he was a fantastic father, I don't think they have a right to say that. If he was, there wouldn't have been a problem between him and his son. Whatever transpired there, the good thing for me is that there's a happy ending. The young man cleared his hospital bills, and I hear he's doing some serious things.
Going to buy him a house as well, apparently. But Ibrahim, your thoughts?
Yes, so I think Governor Monday Okpebholo should ensure that something is done about this man who is very irresponsible in treating our national currency in such a very bad manner, and he's spraying the money, which is against the CBN Act, and against the Money Laundering Act, and every other act that we have that speaks against this. So whatever it is that is done, it just reminded me of the Equatorial Guinea man, Baltazar Igonga, who was so irresponsible. You know, they are holding very similar position, asset recovery, and the other one, anti-graft agency of the Equatorial Guinea. So whatever is needed to be done to this man should be done pronto. It needs to be brought to justice as soon as possible.
How can we trust you with our money?
And Olamide, please spare me that video next time, because I'm actually fasting, and you showed me this video this morning.
I apologize. Ask the fella.
So I had to drag you on the national TV. Talking about Asake, I think it's very, very important. It's sacrosanct that we as children take care of our parents, no matter what. If they are not responsible, or they were not responsible when we were growing up, they had so many choices of, you know, they probably would have flushed us down the drain, down the toilet or anything, but they are tried. They are our parents, no matter what, just leave their judgment
But Ibrahim, I want to ask you a question.
But we need to play our own part as children to take care of our parents, regardless of the story.
Ibrahim, I want to ask you a question. I do agree with you in the sense that we do have an obligation to our parents, culturally, religiously, and even just morally. On the other hand, To what extent? I mean, his family was requesting that he build a 50 million naira high-rise apartment for the father to be collecting rent every year. To what extent? Where do we draw the line and say, I've done my duty and my due diligence to you as a child?
Yeah, so if the father is asking for too much, I don't know, it's between himself and his father.
Exactly my point.
Regardless.
You know?
But what I'm saying is that, not Ashake now, I'm talking about us, talking about the viewers and everyone, including me. We owe our parents the duty to take care of them, maybe in our own little way, but we must not neglect them, regardless of the failure they had, during our growing up, whether they were there or not there. It's very, very religiously. I'm actually speaking from a religious stance. We must take care of our parents. It's very clear. That's my belief.
Oh yes, we must take care of our parents. It's our duty as children. And with that very sound advice from Ibrahim, let's tell you that the views and reactions of all our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. That's all we have for the day. I hope you had a wonderful time watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. My name is Etoma Edu.